This meeting is called to order. First item, chair, member, and committee reports.
None.
None. Any mail or phone messages?
None.
All right. Public inquiries.
Anyone? I'll say none.
All right. Do you have any minutes to approve?
Not at this time.
All right. First item, notice of intent, DEP number 128-1923, 28 Curtis Hill Road and New Spencer Road. The applicant has submitted a notice of intent for the construction of a 72-lot subdivision and associated grading.
We have finally received the final plan. Graves Engineering review has been completed. There was just some few special conditions that will be adding to our order conditions. So the applicant felt that it would be beneficial to just continue to our next meeting until we have all the special conditions written down. So we'll be continued to October 23rd.
All right, I need a motion to continue.
Motion to continue.
Second. I'm sorry?
Alan, that makes sense.
Okay, sorry. Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Next on the agenda, notice of intent, DP number 128-1851, 16 Sturbridge Road. The applicant has submitted a notice of intent for the proposed construction of a gas station and convenience store.
As the commission notice has been in front of us for quite a while, we finally have all the documentation required. I'm just waiting for a final revised plan, which should be receiving beginning of next week, and we should be able to vote on the next meeting. So be continued to October 23rd.
I need a motion to continue.
Motion to continue.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
What a second. Aye.
Say 23rd?
Yes, it is.
Yep, 23rd. All right, next on the agenda, notice of intent, DEP number 128-1938, 35 North Main Street. The applicant has submitted a notice of intent for the construction of a development of a 40 multifamily housing units with work in the buffer zone of the and wetland and with associated intermittent stream. What's that one?
We are still waiting for peer review comments to be addressed, possibly plans to be revised. The applicant has provided few pictures requesting the stream to be reclassified. So that is, I'm still waiting for that report. So we'll be addressing this all in our next meeting, October 23rd. We'll be asking to continue.
I need another motion to continue.
Motion to continue.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Notice of intent, DEP number 128-1945, 4 Oxford Road. The applicant has submitted a notice of intent for the construction of a new fire station with 2 associated parking lots and utility improvements.
We're still waiting for Graves Engineering requests to be submitted. So we'll be continued to October 23rd.
So I'm seeing a theme here.
Oh, yeah, also, I believe they need to do some study for, like Amazon did for the light, for the, whether or not they need a
Traffic light?
traffic light.
Oh,
So
boy.
that study might take a little bit, as you know, DOT things too.
More traffic lights.
Yeah.
Do I have
It
a-
appears they're not going to need one, but the study has to be
Be
done.
done.
Right.
Do I have a motion to continue?
Motion to continue.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, next, notice of intent, DP number 128-1947, 64 Lincoln Point Road. The applicant has filed for notice of intent for the demolition and construction of a 1-story dwelling.
Do you want to present, are you presenting a plan?
No.
No? Okay, you can come right in if you don't mind. Yep. Jay is not here? Okay. So Jay designed the plan, passing it around.
Please state your names.
Yep.
I'm Joel Patnode.
Judy Halfstein.
Hello.
Hello.
Can you go ahead, just give a little brief explanation of what you're doing there?
Okay, so we have this property on Lincoln Point Road. It's got a cottage there now, unheated, three-season kind of camp type cottage, and we're gonna knock it down and build a house.
You're right.
It's as simple as it
As
is.
simple as
I
that.
like that. So how,
3-bedroom?
Yeah,
have you, oh, you guys look at
good then.
this. How close to the water is this?
So let me read my orders.
Oh, we got a zoning, what do you call variance in July.
No, that's fine, I just, for the question.
Oh, no,
the
just,
conservation-
yeah, so there will not be closer than 40 feet,
Okay,
and there will be no work within the bank.
okay.
Sorry, I'm just trying to read it here.
Was there comments from the?
And the closest work will be associated with the construction of the septic system, but the majority of the project is outside the 100 feet. Actually, not the majority, I believe. The septic, the deck, and part of the house, it will be greater than 40 feet from the bank, and the BVW, there was a BVW located there too. And the remainder of this, the property, the single-family home, the garage and driveway will be outside the 100 feet. So it's partially within the buffer.
Gotcha.
Is it in the same location where the cottage was?
Yeah, it doesn't go any closer.
It can't go any closer,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
There's only- yeah.
Does DEP have any comments?
They did, and they were addressed. They were related to floodplain, which it didn't apply. They just need some clarification. Good job, Ron.
Do I have any questions from the commissioners? Any questions from the audience? What do you recommend?
I would recommend closing the public hearing and issuing the order of conditions.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you. Do I have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
You're good.
Since we only have one, do you want to sign it as the other
Sure.
plan starts? Yeah.
Okay.
You never thought it'd be that easy, huh?
We're happy. We did all the homework.
Oh, yeah, they had been through the process for prior.
Yeah.
Yeah. We had Glenn, we had Jay Du Bois, we had,
Joe Levesque.
yeah, it's like, I was like, how many people are
That's
involved
what we
in
were thinking.
in this project?
One little project. And who's in charge?
So we're all set. I'll be able to issue you the permit, given the holiday on Monday, I'll have it ready for you on Tuesday.
Perfect.
Great.
Am I mailing it to you, or are you picking it up?
We'll pick it up.
Okay,
pick it
so
up.
my assistant will give you a call, let you know when it's ready.
Perfect.
Cool.
Okay.
Thank you
you.
so much.
Yeah, of course. Have a good night.
You too.
Good luck.
Yeah, thank you.
All right.
That's sufficient.
You only need 3?
4,
I didn't quite get that yet.
Get 'em all.
whatever. Go ahead.
All right, next on the agenda, notice of intent, there's no DEP number listed, 83 Daniels Road. The applicant has filed for a notice of intent for landscaping improvements associated with
Can I have that
removal
back one?
and installation of a patio steps and a stone wall within the 100-foot buffer zone for resource area and bank.
Hi, Robert.
For the record, I'm Robert Duff, Core Engineering. I'm here on behalf of the applicant, David White. He's the owner of the property, 83 Daniels Road, South John Road 4, AKA Grand Reservoir. Mr. White's been out there, he built this house in 1986. What he's asking of the commission now is he wants to do some improvements, mostly replacing things, i.e. they have timber walls over in here. He's gonna replace them with stone. There's just some wooden steps in here. He's gonna, like, close it up, put a more defined walkway, stairwell going down from the deck. The deck itself is as 2 levels. He's gonna remove the deck, put a deck with just a single level, not gonna have a step in it.
Robert, can you just point the lake so the
Yeah,
commission
okay.
has a,
I'm sorry.
yeah,
Here's the lake.
thank you.
Um,
So they have an idea of what
Yeah,
they are.
it's
Okay.
on this side.
Yep.
Is this, and then the driveway goes up to Daniels Road.
Yep.
So, we also gonna, in here, there's a timber wall, that he's gonna replace the timbers and put stone in, the granite stone around here. Right in here is the dock for the boats. Right now, there's some stone in there. He's gonna replace those and put some steps in there, mostly for, make it safer. It's kinda steep, kinda grassy, so it can be, with the water, it can get slippery. So that's about it. It's just basically cleaning up property, replacing some of the things that, just the timber walls are old, they need to, he wants to spruce up the property and fix things up, so. That's all I have on the board at this time.
We have no DP number, right?
We do not have any GP number. I have not been there per se to look at this plan. I will stop by this week and I'm waiting for any GP comments.
It's just like remove and replace, he's just upgrading things that are
Yeah,
already
like I
there.
said, some of the walls, it's an old timber wall.
There's no
They're-
new structure being
They're
proposed.
going on, 50 years, so he wants to just put granite steps in front of the way. Also, I didn't mention that in here, though, he was also gonna put some armoring, that's that bank,
Been there for 100 years.
put down.
And that armory again, are just riprap,
Yeah, just some small rock. Dave.
boulders?
Right where the dock comes down, we're gonna put stone right on the
stone
side.
steps in.
The wave action is, you look at it, it seems.
Eroding.
It out, so we're just gonna, there's rock on both sides, it's opening, so we're just gonna, put some stone in there, just for erosion control.
And presently there is nothing there,
No,
correct?
we're seeing
Okay.
It's slowly eroding back because of the big boats that they have now.
the wave action.
So we'll be continuing because we don't have a
DP
GP number at this time. I don't foresee any major comments, but,
No, this is
Yeah.
DP, local projects, we're trying to wait for numbers, they can't close the hearing. The next meeting,
is that will be continued for October 23rd.
okay.
Oh, I need a motion to continue the hearing? Second? All in favor?
Aye.
It's this month.
So hopefully we have a GP number till then, and then
Yeah.
we should be able to
Yeah,
issue.
yeah.
If not, we meet once in November due to Thanksgiving, so we'll coordinate.
Not to we're trying to take advantage, the drawdown starts, I believe, Columbus Day, so we want to kind of.
Yeah, we
like to
started
work
on,
with
it was started November 1st, so you were right on track. Yeah, just plan for that.
Thank you.
It should come up, yep.
Keep your fingers crossed.
Yeah.
DP
Yeah, well, like I said,
It's just, it wouldn't hurt to send them an email, say, meet next week if you don't hear anything.
thank you.
All right, next, abbreviated notice of resource area delineation, 130 Sturbridge Road. The applicant has submitted an ANRAD to allow for review and approval of the wetland boundaries.
So we're still waiting for peer review to take place. We'll be continued to October 23rd.
I need a motion to continue to October 23rd.
Motion to continue.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, next on the agenda, certificate of compliance, DEP number 128-1894, 60 Hill Road.
We'll table it again, waiting for erosion controls to be removed. Or
That's on
at-
last time, right?
Or at least somebody to tell me that they were, but I haven't heard from.
So, you don't have to do any action or vote
No.
on that? Any enforcement or violations?
Not quite, something came to my attention after I posted the agenda, so I can only discuss that under, new business when we
Okay.
get to it, so it'll be the last one.
Last one? All right. Do we ask those guys to move it? I got it, all right. Old new business. No disturb, no build zones, policy discussion and vote.
Policy is on the table. I think at this point, it would be nice to have a motion to either approve it or deny.
Did you change the date?
Yes,
Can I have a copy of it?
I had
The
given
email.
a copy to you last time
You
and
got
via
no
email. You left with it in your hands. And I sent it via email to everybody last week.
How long ago did you send it? Did Daylin send it under her name?
I sent it myself.
Oh, that's why I didn't get it, because I just looked for Daylin's.
He has
So-
one there, so.
Nothing's changed.
Nothing
except
has
for the-
changed.
From the last time, except
With
for the
the
date, except for the effective date.
I just had a couple of questions, if the board will listen to me. We're gonna exempt, we're gonna, not exempt, but enforce a homeowner from putting a child's sandbox or a playpen within the 12-foot buffer zone?
I'm sorry, a sandbox?
Well, that's what it says in here.
It says it will not allow a sandbox.
Well, yeah.
It's sandbox. Are you meaning, but you're meaning not like just one that can be picked up and moved, but one that's a permanent, okay. Fence, retaining wall, patio, gazebo, children's toys such as sandboxes and swing sets, and those would not be allowed within the 12-foot buffer.
That's
Correct.
that's getting a little silly.
Again, it's there to be discussed, don't direct it at me. So discuss with the commission, and if you choose the commission to vote to remove it, they do so. I'm writing the policy based on other towns, but we need to tailor to our own town. I didn't pick that up out of my,
I've also been told that there's an email going around Glenico, I guess put out by one of the members, that said people that live on the lake, have waterfront, if they want to work on their dock or their beach or their retaining wall, they will most likely be able to do it.
'Cause that's what it says right in the, and it says existing structures are exempt. So that's what she explained last week. Last time we were here, she said existing structures such as retaining walls, et cetera.
Okay,
If
but
they
if-
need to be fixed, let me finish, please. They need to be fixed or replaced,
It's called courtesy.
then it's exempt from this. If you're
Okay.
gonna add a new one,
You want-
and it provides benefits for erosion control, it's also gonna be exempt from this. She explained this all last time.
That's
And it's
funny
in
how
here.
it benefits all the people at the lake, but if Joe Blow up the street wants to put a retaining wall or a fence.
In a wetland? In a
No,
wetland?
No.
In a
Within the
wetland.
12, within 12 feet
Yes.
of the wetland.
Yeah.
He can't do it.
He has to show that it's a benefit to the wetland to do
Say
it.
can's not put in there, just so.
It cannot is not in there.
I understand what he has to do to show it. It's
Yeah.
it's very costly for him to show.
Then we, plans, whatever he's gotta do, and then we as a commission can say, yes, you can do it, or no, you don't. It's a
And
policy,
even
Mitch.
if we pass
It
this-
protects the
Even
wetland.
if we pass this, excuse me now, even if we pass this, it's a policy, it can still be
Challenge.
Challenge,
challenged.
yeah,
Right.
yeah.
So why change anything?
So why,
We have complete control now within the 100 feet.
do we? Well, they can build
We-
right
we
up.
sure do.
Yeah, we-
All we're saying is we want you not to build right up to the wetlands, if possible, all new construction. So give us 12 feet back. Other towns have 25. Don't
So-
understand why that's
Who
so
is
hard.
we and us? I don't know who this we and us.
This policy is for the Conservation Commission, so
Okay,
we
but-
would have,
well-
would be requesting that you do not go directly up to the end of the wetland.
Then we don't presume that.
What do you mean we
Presume
don't?
what? What are we
Presume what?
presuming?
We don't, the whole thing is a presumption.
Well, reality is a presumption, so if you wanna narrow it down,
I don't have to narrow down either. I just read, the word presumption is in there. So why should we presume anything? Maybe you want to presume something. I don't like presuming
I'm
things.
not, we're interesting prevarication, but.
The thing is, I think we're foolish to change anything. We have control of the 100-foot there now. We can,
But there's nothing to say that,
It's not to say that people can't do it up to it. All this policy is to make people have extra consideration going, do I absolutely have to go right up to the edge of the wetland, or should I could say, instead of having that sandbox right on the edge of the wetland, maybe I move it 10 feet. If it gives them an extra consideration and it saves little wetlands, that's the whole point of this policy.
I think we're getting carried away here in town with these regulations and policies. and-
what is a policy?
and-
How do you
and
enforce it? What's it different than a bylaw?
It would
helps
be my,
us, right? That's all it does.
yeah.
Okay.
it'd be my feeling to,
We just can make a motion, and then who is against, vote against, who is in favor, vote in favor.
well, I'd like to make a motion that
Yeah.
we do not approve this new policy and
Sure.
stay where we are.
There's the motion. Who is in favor?
All right.
You need a second, don't you?
Yeah, I
Well,
need
why
a
can't we
second.
discuss it a little bit more?
We can.
He just said he made a motion. That's
Yeah.
why you asked
If
for a
you, if
vote.
you wanna, don't second it and have more discussion, we can do that.
You, if you wanna
Just
keep
end it.
talking
This is
about it,
the-
Ryan, go
This
for
is
it.
the second week, it's becoming like, just ending at this point.
Excuse me, is there ever an opportunity for any
Oh,
discussion?
sure you can.
Wait a minute,
Do we,
Do we
through the
wanna
chair, are we allowing?
Well, you made your points last time. Did you have anything different from last time?
Yes. Okay, you want me to take a seat?
Yes, please.
I withdraw my motion temporarily.
Thank you. I think the biggest point that I want to make is that what this now means for anyone who abuts a body of water, especially a body of water that's used for high recreation, South Charlton Reservoir, Glencoe Lake, probably 250 residents but those bodies of water. We talk about a sandbox. I know my kids grew up
Okay.
playing down by the lake, and I had to make sure that we had a few wheelbarrows of sand there so that they could water and then the shoreline. Just the other night, I was out with my wife, just taking a putt-putt around the lake, and there were people, it was a nice evening, they were out, they had campfires going, you know, within 25 feet of the lake. And I'm saying to myself, geez, a lot of people use that area from that point of view of you can't do anything there. And
It doesn't have.
I guess a question I have to the administration, was Lakes and Ponds notified of this, this policy change? It's either yes or no.
It's a no.
It's a no, okay. Again, I'm just trying to make sure all of the lights are on,
Recreational
and that
activities.
we can't be doing this in the middle of the night, or you shouldn't be doing it in the middle of the night.
It's not
We
a-
want to
this
make
is a
sure it's an
hearing.
open,
Published hearing.
open policy that's crystal clear, that everybody knows what's going on. And the thing is, to your point, Mitch, there's nothing that's already included in the regulation that can't be enforced if in fact someone is walking a wobbly line, saying, "Hey, that shouldn't be allowed."
Okay.
And that the commission can take action on that. So, again, I think this is too much of a reaction to nothing, okay? Because, again, I just look in and around my own surroundings and saying, you know, what's this gonna do to so many people who are doing improvements around their property? Such as the item that just came up a couple applications ago. Someone wants to improve their property. They're within the 12-foot
It's not
zone.
on this thing.
As
Do you understand the policy?
Really missing at the point, but I'll let the chair.
No, the
choose.
point is that this regulation
Not a
will
regulation.
affect the
No, it's-
It's not a
application.
regulation. Let's talk.
Excuse me, the policy
Thank
will
you.
affect the application that's just in front of you.
It
But let me
won't.
be clear, the policy you're talking about has the same effect as if it's a regulation. Because if in fact you're doing anything with the 12 feet, you've got to come and ask for permission. That's the point.
Question for you. When you build a house, do you have to ask for permission?
Yes, you do.
Okay. Why is that?
Why is that? Well, no, you have to have all of your permits in line, in all of those things.
Right.
And the thing is, you know, the way things are going, my insulator came up to me and said, Rob, if you're gonna build a house next year, plan on $20,000 more for insulation.
How is that relevant to this policy?
That's, no, it's more. All I'm making a point is, it's on top, on top, on top, and more. Do you know why we have a housing crisis in
Okay,
this,
that's-
in this
It's not-
town?
Can we keep
It's
this to
because
policy?
of the cost of
You're
things.
bloviating.
And there is a
With all due
cost
respect,
for
you're
doing what
bloviating. Can we
you
stick
just
to
put
the
in forth.
policy, please?
Yeah, the policy. It costs money.
This policy.
Yes, right, if you wanna do something, all right, I'm not talking about building, I'm just talking about, you know, adding or at least putting in a sandbox. We need permission for that. It sounds ludicrous to me, and it sounds un-American and unfamily.
It's not only the commission, but you're gonna have to hire an engineer to.
Of course.
Not
For a
necessarily.
sandbox?
Which is, that's a fallacious statement, because if you read the policy.
Come on, Ed.
No,
you-
no.
Can I respond, or are you gonna keep talking?
You cut me right out.
No, I started
Go
first
ahead,
and you
go ahead, I'll
interjected.
listen to you.
Okay. If they come, so we're just putting in a sandbox. The way I read this policy, if the commission looks at it and says, okay, they're putting whatever, a 5x5 sandbox. And we look at what's there and we say, all right, that's not really gonna impact the wetlands at all. We can grant them an exemption. That takes 2 minutes. No money.
We can do that now with the 100-foot rule.
Right,
That's
but
all
if we
I'm
have another situation where we're saying, okay, you're building, whatever, a massive pool right up to the wetland, and we're saying, well, wait a second, no, and we have this policy where, that gives us, from my understanding, just a little bit more tiny, I wouldn't even call it a tooth, baby tooth buffer to give us a little bit more say over what we have versus what the base state has.
It's gonna give us.
That's all.
It's gonna give us
And through
the
the
same
chair.
say.
Through the
And
chair,
we have
could
that
you
say
just
now.
clarify to Mr. Leminski that the previous project that was presented to us will not be affected by this policy? Just simply why? Because it will be an improvement, so any project that comes in front of us, a lakefront area that shows that it meets the interest of the act, which means it's gonna be beneficial for wildlife or water quality, it will be exempt from this policy.
So replacing the
Retaining wall.
the wood stairs leading down towards the water with granite stairs,
It's eroding.
that's gonna be an
It's
improvement
existing.
that would automatically be granted.
Correct.
It's
Right.
already part, it's already
already
part of the
Right,
NOI.
My point is that it now becomes the discretion of the,
That's why it's a
Commission.
policy, correct.
and the thing is if the 12-foot item wasn't in there, then that discretion gets moved right to the edge of the resource area.
Exactly.
So that's what this is all about. Is this all about power? Is this all about?
No.
It's just a tightening of the belt a little bit more.
In
That's
your
my feeling.
And good point, a little bit more. The thing is, this is what's happening.
It doesn't stop there.
There has to be a foot down and say, look, enough is enough. There's plenty of solid, common sense regulations that are in place that will certainly protect the resource area.
Yeah, but Sturbridge has it, Oxford has it, Uxbridge has it, Monkey See, Monkey Do.
Okay.
We don't need it in this town.
And if I may, and I'm sorry for interrupting.
No, go ahead.
I don't care what other towns do. They can do whatever they want to do. This is Charlton, this is our town. We need to be involved in the regulations that we're gonna live with. And if Sturbridge wants to do something different, or if Auburn wants them, let them do it. Or either that, or go move there. Maybe that's where your life will be happy. But again, I think we have enough, and I think there's other people who want to speak. Thank you for your time.
Of course.
Thank you, Rob.
Just a second, please. Somebody just entered. Do you have a comment for this discussion?
He's muted. He's unmute. Oh, yeah, unmute him. He's still, oh, there he goes.
Hi, Rose.
How are you? I didn't know if you had a comment for this
Just
discussion.
coming in. What was the question?
No, we're actually just discussing no disturb, no build policy. I just saw you right now, so I wasn't sure if you had a comment on your perspective from a wetland scientist. We're trying to vote a no disturb zone to keep it, constructions and disturbance, 12 feet from the buffer, from the border
Right,
vegetated
right.
wetland.
Yeah, my understanding is that's just a policy. I mean, obviously, the town of Charlton does not have a bylaw. This is a recommendation based on the science and based on, the ability of the commission to regulate the buffer through the Wetlands Protection Act. And, essentially, my understanding is it's a guideline to have for applicants to be consistent, in their project design, in order to enable adequate protection of the wetland, to allow some you know, undisturbed, a reasonable amount of undisturbed buffer zone. I mean, obviously, you know, as a policy, and even if it was a bylaw, I mean, there are grounds for waiving, you know, that setback, and I'm sure the commission would take those into account, you know, in their review of projects, but I mean, you know, 25 feet is not an unreasonable.
12 feet.
We're at 12.
You know, amount of setback to adequately protect the wetland both during construction and, you know, during occupancy and use of the site, so, yeah, I certainly, you know, am in favor of, you know, reasonable setbacks and also, you know, the ability to waive those setbacks, you know, when necessary in certain situations. Thank you.
Thank you, Art.
You-
Anyone else? You can come in and,
No, I just wanna make a quick comment.
Oh.
And not, I do what Rob does for a living on a smaller scale. And I'll do respect, Rob, either we're gonna have to deal with the belt tightening and the extra money on the insulation, on the engineering, either we're gonna play ball or we're just gonna be done building houses and developing. It's gonna cost more. Houses are gonna cost more, development's gonna cost more. It is what it is, okay? Fighting City Hall, fighting the system, paying for more material, it is what it is. Either we're gonna have to bite the bullet and move forward, or we're just gonna stop. It sucks. That's called life. It's a battle that's really unwinnable at this point. No, he just said, he was making a point earlier, the cost of living is getting, it is what it is. And as far as the 12 feet, I don't have waterfront property, but I don't know anything about that, but 12 feet seems pretty reasonable. I mean, that's pretty close to the water. That's my opinion, but I don't know. In Sutton, it's not even close. My house on the water, we don't even have access.
Sure.
Don't even think about it.
Hey, state your name.
I'm Frank Zapula. For those that don't know me, I live on Glen Echo Lake, waterfront property owner. I'm also on the Town of Charlton Lakes and Ponds Committee and a member of ROLAP, which is a recently formed organization of Lakes and Ponds Associations. So I was a little disturbed that the Lakes and Ponds Committee in the town wasn't informed of this, since they represent a lot of hundreds of waterfront property owners, and, you know, we have concerns. I mean, I read the first sentence, the Conservation Commission presumes that all land within 100 feet of wetlands and resources shall be preserved, and long-term deleterious effects on them shall be prevented, and then I read on and I see, you know, a swing set is gonna cause a deleterious effect on a wetland. So some of it, it's just, the way it's worded, doesn't make any sense. So recently I was at a ROLAP meeting, and Lakes and Ponds from other towns, one of the biggest concerns was boat wakes destroying their shorelines. And recently with these wakeboard boats, which have 2 and 3 foot wakes, causing a lot of shoreline damage. And when they went to their conservation commissions and selectmen, the response was, nobody wants to enforce the size of boat wakes. So they were told to basically bolster their waterfronts. So someone who may not have an existing retaining wall, maybe have some field stones or something, you know, might want to now build a retaining wall to prevent the boat wakes from eating away the shoreline. And it looks like you're trying to block people from protecting the
No,
shoreline.
that's
No.
incorrect. That's correct.
that we just
Incorrect.
explained that such a project will be exempt, because you're benefiting the lake, the water
Well,
quality, and the
yeah, I
bank.
see you got a 13-step list here of how we got approved.
You have to file no matter what to
Yeah.
build a retaining wall.
Well, today you do that anyways. Why do we need?
That's what I'm saying, but this is not just for a retaining wall. There are many projects in town that does not just pertain to lakefront
So
residents.
to be clear, it's not saying
It's,
that you couldn't do a retaining wall or stop the erosion.
It says you cannot put a retaining wall here.
It
Maybe-
says, shall not be permitted unless the applicant demonstrates that such activity would not have such an impact or public benefits such as health and safety outweigh any such impact.
Right, so now,
Or the activity involves the maintenance of existing structures.
So how would he show that? By hiring an engineer?
No.
Right.
No,
Oh, come on.
on a lake,
Does it say that in there, Rich, question?
No, it didn't say, it didn't say an engineer.
So-
But I'm reading that into it.
12 conditions.
Presuming.
so if I had waterfront and I didn't have a retaining wall, my first thing would be to call up conservation, say, what do I need to do?
You would have to file regardless.
I would have to file, what do I need to do?
Exactly,
You have to file.
exactly.
So at that point, I don't have this 12 because I'm protecting the waterfront by putting a retaining wall in.
She's protecting the bank from eroding and causing pollution
Right.
to the lake.
But that,
So then I'm not doing this,
But-
So
all
she-
this
she
other.
doesn't-
We have not asked people to do retaining walls to have an engineer. We've done numerous of them.
but the
A landfill.
jurisdiction, we have a 100-foot buffer. Our jurisdiction is 100 feet.
And this is asking for,
We could do exactly the same thing, even if we pass this 12-foot. We don't need this 12-foot, because we have the jurisdiction already.
We're-
If there's something that's gonna be detrimental to the lake, the wetlands, or whatever, species, we can, our board here, we're not stupid, we've been here for a while. We understand what's going on. If something ain't correct, we then can say you have to have a 15-foot buffer. We can't build any closer than 25 feet, you can't build any closer than 10 feet. Correct? That's what we've been doing. Been doing since I've been here, anyway. So why do we need this, to implement this policy?
What the answer is, you're just not listening to it. It's like, it's just asking people to give it a consideration, to say, if they're building right up to the wetland, and there's other options, if they have hardship, we'll say fine. If it's not gonna cause damage to the wetland, there's a whole list in there, that we'll give exemptions. It's all as is. And even if we say to them, from my understanding, because this is a policy, I'm not an attorney, I admit it, if the person, we say, no, we want you to do it here, and they say, screw you, I'm gonna hire an attorney and say, it's a policy, there's not much we can do anyways. But all it is even if it's one or two people that apply, say, all right, maybe I'll put it here for the benefit of the wetlands.
Let me just.
But the
correct
same
it
thing
through the
holds
chair.
true with the
Yeah.
100-foot, yeah, come on.
Just-
But a lot less will consider it if we don't have it as a policy. You ask me the question, I give you the answer. So do we want a motion to vote? I
Yes,
just
just
hired
need to
this.
vote.
Before that, I just had a question myself. Where we're talking about who's gonna make that determination, is that still the board? Or are we looking for something more professional, like an engineer or a scientist, when we're talking about the
No.
vegetation and so forth?
No. There will never
It says
be.
it right here.
It says it right here where?
Well, I just made a note there that you have to,
Can you show
We
me?
have to have,
What
yeah, it was
number?
on that copy. Mitch, may I have that copy, please?
I just wanna make sure that I'm
No,
answering
the other
you.
one. Where your glasses are.
A minute, please.
a regular person can't make that determination. They're not experienced.
Adverse impact of wetland, such alterations, of construction shall be permitted unless the applicant
Where?
demonstrates that, and then it goes into,
First page.
such activity would not have an impact, public benefits such as health and outweighs that impact. A little further down, one more line, the applicant will have the burden of proof by clear and convincing evidence on this issue. So I was just wondering if
That's on the first page.
something presented to the Conservation Commission, either your office or us, or
So,
if that,
where is it? Oh.
or if the person would need something more
Proof by
concise.
clear and convincing evidence. I think that question is almost impossible to answer. It will depend on what the proposal is.
Right,
I don't know what he's going to be proposing. He might be proposing to build a pool that he could be 25 feet away and he chooses to be 10 feet. Or those are things that, and those things have never been required in engineering. We try to, work with our residents to make life easier. So we don't usually request for retaining walls or anything unless we're caught talking about something massive that requires engineering plan.
yeah, no, I was just
Like the
wondering,
ones that we have now. I don't know if you wanna give me an option, like a
So it could go
scenario.
either way.
Well,
It's dependent upon the
it
project.
depends upon the project. I mean, as of today, the only time we request engineer plans for works, proposed work like building a single-family home, which they would have to do it regardless. So
Right.
I cannot imagine any situation where somebody comes in that I will request an engineer plan for something so insignificant. I don't, we have never done that. I would imagine for that
we
board.
do
So the
same thing
majority of
today.
it would still be done
Same thing.
amongst
The
people sitting
same,
here?
100%. If somebody comes, Rose, I know you have a policy, I was trying to, put a little swing set to my kids in the backyard. That could be under administrative approval. If I feel that it won't have any impact, I go to the side, there's no slopes, it's flat, the area is vegetated, I give the administrative approval and you're done. We're not making people file for a permit for something so simple, if that's answer your question.
Yeah, well, I was just trying to see if there would be an impact on more residents, maybe trying to do something.
That's not the spirit
And I
of the
don't know,
policy,
that could
yeah.
be any number of things, obviously, some
Yeah.
very complex,
Right.
some very simple.
But that's not the spirit of the policy. I think the spirit of the policy that we need to keep in mind is like Ed has said and Art has said, is just more of a recommendation to keep people with that thought in mind that, all right, if I can't stay 12 feet, why not? Let me give that buffer to protect the wetlands and stay away from it. It's not to create a burden on applicants. I don't think.
So there's nothing, go ahead.
I'm Jim Baker. My family's had property on South Charlton Reservoir since 1947. And a lot of the properties on South Charlton Reservoir, Leland Drive and Baker Road, were developed in the late 40s and 50s. And a lot of them were only 50 feet, some maybe 80 feet wide. They were camps. And of course, over time, they've become year-round residences, but I lived on the lake since 1981 on South Trout Reservoir, and I graduated from Clark in physical geography and environmental affairs, and got involved with South Trout Reservoir in the Lakes and Ponds Task Force. And we worked with the Conservation Commission a lot back then. I just want to give you some background because I don't want to see this happening again. There was a period where the Conservation Commission was very restrictive on what people could do on the lake. And you got to understand that the 5 lakes that we oversaw in the Lakes and Ponds Task Force, they're recreational ponds. There's a lot of boat traffic. They're used for recreation. And I'm also a landscape contractor. And we do a lot of work on the lakes, not just in Charlton, but all over central Mass. And one of the major issues, in designing waterfronts is wave erosion from the recreational use of these ponds. And, a lot of times we work with the Conservation Commission to try to solve these problems by, combining, the right designs with the waterfront to, stop erosion, but also not to restrict, the wildlife, especially the aquatic life, fish, crayfish, all these type of things. And in some jobs, the erosion was so bad from waves, and, we didn't want to put retaining walls up because that just reflects the wave energy and still erodes, the bottom of the lake because of the wave energy. So, we would design, specific things for different, different conditions, and on the shore too. But what I wanted to warn you about is, like, in the 80s, where the Conservation Commission became really restrictive, people just stopped applying. if they feel like you're overstepping your bounds by restricting them from using their waterfront, they're not gonna apply. They're gonna be in non-compliance. And when I read this, on no touch zone or whatever, I felt like, when people read that, they're not gonna bother to apply to the Conservation Commission. They're just gonna go and do what they wanna do. And I don't think that's a good idea to present that, because it looks so restrictive. Someone reading it is not gonna be very happy, and they're probably gonna say, I'm not gonna do that. And you gotta understand something also is, all these properties on the lake pay a really high tax rate because of the assessment of their properties. And, back in the 80s, when we were looking for money for lake studies, the town didn't want to give us anything. So what we did is we added up the increase in tax assessments on the 5 lakes that were in Charlton. And they basically accounted to, a few $1 million more. And so at that point, the town says, all right, we'll give you some money for lake studies. We ended up getting $30,000.
Can we
That-
just keep this to the policy, please?
Well, the reason I'm telling you this is because you don't want to have the perception of being a board that's too restrictive on these properties. The people are already paying high taxes and everything else to use the waterfront as, for recreation.
And if you read this policy, there's nothing in there that would stop anything from what you just said.
Sir, I'm sorry, your first name again?
Jim?
I do understand your concern, and I do believe that regulations have changed since the 80s. And if the commission became restricted, they became strict because they had to follow state regulations, because we don't have our own bylaw. So regulations in general around the state became more restricted, and it is our job to enforce them. Now, I have a very good relationship with every pond in this town. And,
Okay, I
and
understand.
any type of construction or activity within the resource area, within
I have one more.
100 feet of the pond, it's
I
already,
understand all that.
everyone already knows that they must apply without touching anything on the pond. I receive phone calls, at least 5 calls a week. I'm trying to do this on the lake, what do I need? What do I need? So the permit process, it's already there, this is
Right,
not changing it.
I know that. I'm just
Yeah.
trying to
I just wanted to
say
clarify.
that,
Yeah.
when you have something so restrictive,
But
or
it's
or
not.
perceived as being restrictive,
Okay,
people are not gonna want to apply. And we had this problem before. We were trying to intercede, say, no, we can do this. We can go to the board, they'll work with us. But I've
Yeah.
worked in some towns where they don't wanna work with us.
but this
But
is
that's-
not the
we're
town.
Two things, one, we're
Yeah.
not that town, two, I can tell you, for at least South Charlton, Little Lester Green Baker, definitely Glen Echo, when you're worrying about people saying this is owners are not gonna comply, I guarantee you, they're gonna have to comply, because you can't do anything wrong in a lake without somebody dropping a dime.
As of right now, I have a violation on Glen Echo Lake that the work was done without a permit.
Okay, well, I have another question I'd like to ask you, because I'm selling a piece of property on South Charlton Reservoir, and it's 100 feet on the water. And that waterfront has never been used for anything. It's natural. So someone's gonna build a house there and wanna use that waterfront. How much of that waterfront can they actually use?
Same as.
10% right off the bat, and then depending on
On
what
what
other
you're
things,
proposing.
circumstances that might.
This policy won't change it at all.
If you put this in effect.
Won't change really not house at all.
No, it won't.
It has to be
Ron,
approved by
that's the
us.
wrong idea.
They have to,
They'll have to file with their board regardless if they're building a house
they're
within
supposed to follow
100
the
feet of
state.
the lake. I'm sorry?
You have to file with the state also.
Right, but you're
Yes,
gonna
the
have to do that
process
now.
is the same. They're doing it right now. We just looked.
Exactly, but this is a different.
No,
When
it's
I
just
read something
asking.
new- Yeah.
Yeah. So,
I'm sorry, but when I
right.
read that,
Yeah.
I'm just feeling what other people are gonna feel, and they're, I'm an environmentalist, I've been all my life. But, and I can understand that, your board will work with us, when we apply, but other people, when they read this, they're gonna have a totally different perception.
They'll call and they will ask.
Well, some of them will.
And for the ones
Some of
that
them.
don't, you'll come to us if they choose to do work without a permit, and that's when we will educate. Everything that's new, any change that we propose, it's really what's important
I
is
would-
educating the
right,
residents.
I would hope it would work that way, but
Yeah.
living on the lake and seeing what goes on in the
That'll be
lake,
changed as soon as this gets into
I've seen where sometimes half
something I know.
other people never go to the
Okay.
Conservation Commission. They
I don't
just do
have-
what they wanna do.
Yeah, I don't have that vision.
Well, this was in the past.
Right, that's what
Right,
I'm
that's
trying
not
to say.
happening
Things have really changed.
Right.
Yeah.
So I don't wanna go back, you know,
That's not how I
by-
see it happening, but I can
Yeah.
see your point of view from the past, 100%. But that's not the intent, and I think we have a good relationship with all lakes and
well,
ponds.
I would hope
To
so.
kind of clarify any question that they may have and work with them based on the proposed paperwork that they submitted.
But, you know, when I read this, it just sounds scary.
Right.
You know, it
Change is
sounds too
scary.
restrictive. And I'm not a lawyer,
Is there
I'm,
anything
you
they
know, I'm
wanna
not on
cut
the
out here
board,
so
I
these
don't
people are
know,
not freaking out?
you know, what exemptions you're gonna give, or how easy you're gonna be to work with people.
Yeah.
I
well,
don't know that.
Well, it
And
depends,
especially
you
someone
know,
that's
right?
never
Because some
gone to the
people have this
Conservation
law,
Commission.
Right.
Can anybody tell me why the state hasn't accepted something like this? Why are they still
I
at
don't
100
have
feet?
that answer. I just know that's getting late, and if the commission can make a motion, if anyone else has anything
Nobody
to
can
say.
wait for that, I guess?
Yeah,
Thank you
okay,
very
I
much.
take a lot.
Yeah, of course.
Probably
Thank
because they give towns
The-
some
the-
leeway to make their own regulations based on their own specific needs.
you. Thank you.
Same with like
That's
Board
an
of Health,
answer.
right? Board of Health
Yeah.
makes stuff that's more.
We have a
restrictive
motion to
than
vote. I don't want to be here till midnight.
Thank you for, again, taking the time.
What
I
happened?
just want to make the point that Rose has made a great argument for why we don't need this. Because she's got a great relationship with the people on the lakes. Everybody comes, everybody fills out the application. If anyone's working within the 100 feet, and if in fact they're gonna work in the resource, they're already coming. And if they're not coming, someone, as Rose just explained, a dime is being dropped. So like you make the
But-
point, why do we need this extra regulation?
I've answered the question
Because
4
it's
times.
already-
I don't know
because
why
it's
you have a hard
already
time
there.
understanding the English
That-
language, Mr.
that-
Lemansky.
That the protection is already
Please
built
ask for a
in.
motion.
Motion?
It's not- Yeah, need a motion.
Yes.
Do I make a motion?
Make a motion
What's the
not to
motion?
accept this policy to stay where we are.
We need a second.
Second,
Second.
roll call
Aye.
to not approve it, to be clear.
Yes.
He says he doesn't want to approve it.
I did not approve it, yeah.
Aye.
Nay,
Nay.
there we go.
Thank you for your input,
So
Rob.
it's not approved?
It's not
Okay.
approved.
Not approved.
Information is on with us.
There we go, over. Thank you.
All right.
Drawdowns.
Do we have anything to sign?
Drawdown and enforcement.
Yes, we
violation.
have one more last thing. Thank you for your patience, Jay.
What's this one for?
Are you here to the email I sent you?
Yeah, I
Okay, yeah. So let me just update the board. I sent an email earlier today. As you know, 6 City Depot Road is under enforcement order. They expired the order conditions in the extension, so he's not allowed to be excavating or doing any activity within 100 feet of the resource area or wetlands there. And I haven't been to the site at all, but Graves Engineer went back there for check on his previous site inspection to see if there had been some improvements, which according to his report, it has been. But just one item that caught my eye is that on his report was the excavation of soils is underway in the location of units number 9 and 10 in preparation for foundation construction presumably. So I sent an email to Jay to let him know that I received this report. I attached the enforcement orders so he's aware that no other activity should be occurring on the site, and I believe he's here to address the commission.
There's no foundation being put in there.
Yeah, no, he does not say that there was a foundation there.
There's no wells there, there's no foundation there.
He did not say that, though.
Yeah.
I just want to clarify.
Yeah.
Excavation of soil is underway.
On the 27th of July, I had the EPA come out. I called EPA because there was conflicting reports from Graves Engineering and from Arthur Allen with regards to my site. So I called EPA myself. They came out and gave me a lengthy report on what was going on the site. They gave me a report. I completed all the tasks on the report. Stephanie Tugas, the EPA agent, came out, did another inspection.
Excuse me, Rob, Mr. Lemansky, can you go back?
She came out, did, I completed all the tasks, she asked me to stabilize certain areas. She asked me to complete some more tasks, remove some soils for stabilization. I have another 4,000 yards to remove. There's no construction going on, I'm just completing the 2 units that I'm doing there, and McClure is, putting together the application for the notice of
The
intent.
notice of intent.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah?
Yeah, there's nothing going on there. I mean, honestly, the situation out there is so, I'm probably not gonna build any more houses in this town, to be honest with you. I'm done.
Again,
I hate to hear that.
I just sent an email based on the report, so it does not say anything about
Yeah, but you-
foundation. It just says excavation of soil, so
but-
it is just my job to follow up. That's all
But
it is.
who's having Mike Andre go out there to do these inspections?
So when he does one inspection, he needs to follow up to make sure that
But
all the
who's
items.
paying for these?
So an email was sent to you when the first visit that he did, correct? I sent an email to you explaining our bylaw.
Yeah, I'm not paying for these.
Well, that's fine, as the bylaw says. Would you like me to read it, or you all set with the bylaw?
You can have,
Okay,
the town
so-
manager call my attorney.
Sure. Tax liens for the town, the Conservation Commission is the one that enforces the bylaw. So the town of Charlton shall require the repayment of services provided to the responsible party, which the responsible party was obligated to perform as put forth in the operation maintenance plan. So the maintenance plan, the operation maintenance plan is what you're supposed to be doing for stormwater on your site.
So what am
So-
I paying McClure Engineering for?
I don't know anything about McClure
But
Engineering.
you're requesting me to get reports from McClure Engineering.
I don't not talk about McClure Engineering.
But I'm paying them to give you reports.
I don't
So I'm
receive
paying
any,
Graves and McClure
I
to
don't
do
receive any
engineer stamps?
reports.
I'm confused now.
I don't receive any reports from McClure.
You don't?
No,
Interesting. So if I come back on the next meeting and I provide reports that McClure has been providing to you and the invoices attached to those, are we gonna discuss that?
I'll be happy to
And the
have you.
emails of you requesting reports from Chris directly?
Are you talking about it previously?
Yes.
Jay?
But you just said you don't request reports.
So, just to clarify, I am not the one who requests, it's the Conservation Commission that requests based on the violations that you have.
Okay,
This
so
has
go-
happened in
so-
the past, there were wetlands
Okay.
violations, it has nothing to do what we're discussing here.
Mr. Allen comes out and gives you a report. I pay
Yeah.
them. I pay McClure. I pay Graves. How come I can't just pay one wetland specialist to come out and give a report?
So,
It's $1,500 each time. They're all specialists. Who's the most special?
so.
What do you think?
I think
I
this,
think I'll stop out tomorrow.
I think this.
$1,500? I know you will.
You're just taking out of context.
Okay,
Graves
so-
Engineer is related to stormwater only.
So, but wait a minute.
So I have never, it has been a very long time that I believe our alley has been asked to go to your site. I don't believe there has been any wetlands violation there in the past year. So I think, yes, there has been, in the past, this commission have been requested reports from McClure in our alley based on the wetlands violations that occurred on your site. That's unrelated to this discussion today. Does that clear? Is that clear? I'm just trying to explain.
No, it's actually not clear.
Okay, so, I don't have anything
Okay.
else to add.
I heard you,
Okay.
but it's not clear.
No, well, I have nothing else to add. So thank you for coming over and letting us know.
There's no
that
work being done there.
There's no work being done.
What's being done has been at request of the EPA. And Stephanie Tugas did send you this report.
She did, and she followed up with an email asking if I have had any other type of violations or if I had any update to give it to her. That's the reason why Graves went to your site, to look for updates. And the update was very well received because you have done a very big amount of improvement as far as stormwater goes.
Okay.
The only item that was there was excavation of soils, and I just need to make sure that that was not happening.
Okay.
It says on the report that it is,
But it looks like.
but you're saying
So
that it's not,
Preparation for foundation and construction,
presumably.
but he's an expert. He would know what a preparation for a foundation looks like, but he's an
If
expert.
if it is
With
at
no-
that point,
With no wells there, and no hole in the ground, and no stakes in the ground.
excavation,
Okay, I'm just, he must be a specialist.
okay.
Interesting.
With
The
that.
guy's been around, he must be on
Thank you,
retainer with
Jay.
the town. That's interesting stuff. Have a good night. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank
It
you.
was a joy as always.
Drawdowns, we doing drawdowns?
Right on, doing that.
Oh, drawdown, yeah.
$1,000 now. So you can take it out of my money. Thank you, Rose.
Have a good night, thank you.
It was a pleasure.
It was a comment on a report that I had to follow up.
All right, you got it.
That's all what it is. Does the commission have any question?
Did we ever get a letter responding to the?
I didn't even attempt because I'm concerned with the response.
Was there a hole dug, or was there anything dug, or?
The
just a-
report says excavation of soils is underway. So excavation of soils are not allowed at this point because he does not have a valid order or conditions. It has expired. He's
Now, which
supposed.
house, is that on the backside, all the way at the end?
Well, I drove by, I didn't see any evidence of
I'm
any
I'm
digging.
gonna, I'm gonna look at that tomorrow myself.
Sure.
Who gave you that report?
Graves Engineering.
Yeah.
So I just follow reports and I give the applicant time to, explain, and that's just what it is. I had to follow up to make sure that he understands that he cannot be
I mean, you don't have to
excavated.
be a rocket scientist to know what a foundation hole looks like.
No, but he can't even
He's,
remove it.
Say
he's
foundation.
not saying, I don't understand it.
No, it's-
Nowhere in the report
No,
says that
but-
there is a foundation being
but
dug.
No. It says
Excavation
underway.
of soils,
Presumably.
presumably for a
presumably for a
foundation.
How do you presume, that word presumably keeps popping up, how do you presume a hole going in?
I see Jay moving piles,
But-
as
Excuse me, the
as
big,
asked.
correct me if I'm wrong, the bigger issue is he wasn't supposed to be removing
Anything,
anything.
Soil.
because he
Well,
did.
I thought he said he was just following up on what he's been told to do by the EPA.
Right, that for stabilization, which was already done according to EPA, so this report was
Jay
done,
comes in?
this report was from October 4th. EPA visit was last month, so this is new.
But did we respond? Remember, he had made some responses
Yeah.
to the state.
To
or
the
to-
federal, yeah,
Yeah, EPA or DEP,
yeah,
and we were gonna send letters also,
yeah.
clarifying what
I have
was
it
said to
drafted,
him.
yeah, I have it drafted, but I never
Haven't
sent
gone in
them,
yet,
yeah.
okay.
I'll bring to the commission next time so you can look at it or email it to you. Drawdown, I'm sorry, I missed that.
This was on the agenda. You wanted to discuss something about the drawdown?
Yes,
Okay.
I do.
Rose, anything else for me?
Oh, I'm sorry, now we should be all set, the project that we're looking into, continued.
Okay,
Thank you,
Do I have to,
have a good
no
night.
problem.
Yep,
bye-bye.
bye.
do I have to excuse myself to
No,
go?
so drawdown, just giving a heads up to the commission, we'll be starting for Gleneco Lake, next week. And for South Charlton's Reservoir, we're pushing a little bit until the 1st of November. Drawdown Gleneco Lake will be performed by the town, DPW, and, Peter, are you still looking to be involved? South Charlton Reservoir, DPW will also be involved. We're pushing a little bit. Residents showed interest to allow a few more additional weeks. We're playing by ear depending on weather, because we do have a project that we'll be doing on the boat ramp to
South Charlton.
comply with our MS4 permit at South Charlton Reservoir on Robert Boulevard.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's pretty much it. So hopefully the weather will cooperate this year and we'll be able to have a good drawdown with
Make a motion
without
to-
major issues.
Abandon this meeting.
Or
Motion
adjourn.
to abandon.
Motion to abandon.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you,
We have
everybody.
Stuff to sign, or we already signed it?
That was it, one permit, I appreciate it, thank